What's up, guys? I'm going to be talking about the best iron sights, backup iron sights for the AR-15. Really, I'm just going to be comparing three of the top dogs in the space. So we're going to be looking at the MBUS Pro, the Troy Battle Sight, whichever one this one is. I meant to get a picture of the normal co-witness height. So if that's not the exact correct skew, that's whatever, it looks like that anyways. And then the Knight's armament flip-ups. So yeah, the rear. So I'm going to be talking about these basically in terms of the front sight and the rear sight. All of these will follow the standard height. So with the Troy ones, I know not the micros, but the regular ones is what we're talking about. The Knights, they are called the micros, but they're the standard iron sight height, and then the MBUS Pro. And I guess I'll get it out of the way first. I didn't select the regular MBUS because they're plastic and they're a great sight, but I just wanted to select the metal ones. So because I like the metal iron sights, I prefer them to be metal, and that's why I just didn't select those ones. And but I think they're fine, they're good. And the other one I didn't go over is the Midwest Industries one, but that one is actually awesome. It's probably like the best, but it just doesn't look as cool as some of these other ones. And I know that's ridiculous, but whatever. So, yeah. But the Midwest Industries on the rear sight in particular is like a really good option especially if you like that the Knight's armament style of having just the flip up, like just the thing with no other shit around it. The hole's a little bit bigger. So definitely look into that, and the price is better. It makes more sense, but we're talking about these three today. Yeah, so I guess if I was going to say it, I would say the Midwest rear is like the Knights, except the hole's a little bit bigger. It's not quite as big as like this type of hole. It's a little bit bigger than this hole. It's like in between these two. You get what I'm saying? And the front sight, I think, is on the same level as like the MBUS Pro, where it's alright in terms of the wings, and the point is good. So I'll go over that. So we're going to start with the MBUS Pro. The MBUS Pro is the best in terms of how sleek it fits on the rail and how small it is and how it doesn't protrude out or back any further than it has to. The MBUS Pro is literally the best system in all of this. The only negative to the MBUS Pro is this absolutely atrocious rear sight view. The problem with the MBUS Pro is this portion is so thick that instead of your vision kind of blurring it out, it's just there, and it just is way in your way. So this thickness is a horrible portion of the iron sight. It's literally the worst. However, these do look the best, depending on how you feel about it. They are, in terms of the lowest profile, the sleekest look. If you want an iron sight that you're literally never going to use, but you just have them in case of emergency, but you already have a regular optic, these are great. But the rear sight it sucks. It sucks to use. Now, the front sight, let's go to my photos. The front sight, this photo doesn't really do it justice, but the front post is actually really skinny and narrow, which is really nice for the precision shooting. You can't see here either, but the front post is really skinny, and this photo does not do it justice for whatever reason. So the wings are kind of ugly, but the post is nice and skinny, and it's great. And doing the adjustments is easy. So that's my review of the MBUS Pro. I say the front sight is a go. The rear sight is a little iffy. It's not unusable, but it's just a pain in the ass when every other sight doesn't have this fucking problem. I don't know why they designed it exactly like this. They could have made it... They literally could have designed just this top portion a little bit different. It would have made everything better. So that's done. Next, we are going to go over the Troy. The Troy is literally the complete opposite in terms of the pros and cons compared to the MBUS Pro. So, the rear sight has the two flips. You can get the close range big hole or the little hole. It totally disappears, especially with the big hole, but even the little hole, it blurs when you look through it, which is nice. That means you're not being obstructed by anything. These ones do lock up, so they flip up without anything, and then they lock, so you have to hit these buttons to get them back down. On the MBUS Pro, they're in a detent down and a detent up, so there's no lock, but they are wicked detented on the MBUS Pros, just so you know. So the MBUS Pros are solid as fuck when they're up or down. I actually prefer it that way in some way, because if they get bumped, they're not going to bend. They're just going to get knocked back down. And I mean, it would take a lot to knock the MBUS Pro down. It really would not change my decision at all based on that. But just so you know, these ones do lock in the up position. So the rear sight is obviously peak, and we've all used it in like a video game or something. I think of the FAMAS from Black Ops when I think of this rear sight. And they make different front sight posts, but this one's the M4 style. This post is it's on the thicker side, like in terms of compared to the MBUS Pro, and I don't really prefer it as thick. I like a little more narrow post because it makes me feel like I can be more precise at distance, and this just feels like a block. So I would say rear sight is peak. The front sight is, I mean, the wings are great. The post is a little thick for my liking, but that could also be a good thing for you because it is a little tougher, I would suppose. These things are also a little bulky compared to the Knights and the Magpuls. They're not too bulky, but they are a little bulkier, especially with the mounting system. And these wings on the rear sight, when they're flipped down on the back of your AR, like the place that everyone mounts it, they do protrude out into where you're gonna rip the charging handle. Now they barely protrude out, and it's not a problem. But it does protrude into it, so that is a factor. It is on this portion up here, so it's flush, so when you grip that charging handle, you're barely going to notice it. It's not going to really affect your ability to pull the charging handle, but it is going to protrude out a little bit. I would say if you have like, I don't know how much it's going to annoy you if you have like a basic charging handle, but if you have any sort of an upgraded charging handle, this thing is not going to affect you. But it is a factor. And next, we have the Knights. So the Knights are wicked fucking expensive. I found some of these rears for like cheap on places that I can't say, I guess. Caught myself there. But, you know, You can find these on sale, slightly used or whatever, with the packaging or whatever. I don't give a shit. As long as they're the real ones. I guess that's why you want the packaging. But um, this peephole, you get the one peephole. These things look really really cool. They're easy to grab and flip up, and they're just a great backup sight. I guess you would really want this over the Troy if you just don't want it to protrude out to the charging handle. So that's one way where these things are really nice. But you only get one hole, so no like close range and long range rear. But you know, if you want this, you want this. I mean, this one's pretty cool. I think of the what do I think of? I think of like a Scar, like an FN Scar when I see these. I don't know if the Scar uses these brand sights, but I think of this like style when I think of a Scar. So I think that's pretty cool look. It definitely passes the look test. And the front sight post, I think the front sight post is pretty awesome. It's like it's a little bit like longer when it's folded down than the MBUS Pro, so that's a negative. But the sight picture is great. The post is pretty narrow, and I kind of like this like curvature of the wings. I just like it. But man, you're not gonna find these things for cheap, and yeah, it's just hard to justify this over the MBUS Pro when you look at the cost. But if you can find this one for cheap, definitely snag it. Yeah, I think that really like compares them all pretty well. It's the real point of this was to talk about the only it's such a sad negative of the MBUS Pro that the rear sight sucks, because the form is so great. It's just the function of that rear sight hole with all that material surrounding it. It just is terrible to actually use. The MBUS Pro does have that flip thing in the front, so like you can flip open a portion and make that hole bigger, which is cool, but it doesn't solve the problem of that extra material there. So I think I've beaten this topic to death. It's really not that big a deal. It's a fucking backup iron sight. We're probably never going to ever use it, but it's there just in case. All right, I think that's it.